is bugging the F out. Something is off with that boy, man. Something is legitimately off, bro. So I don't know what's gonna happen there, man. But your man KD got exposed for talking ish about everybody. Alperen said Goon can't play defense. What does Steven Adams provide? Yo, bro, your man KD is wildin'. Someone please save this boy, man. He's really looking to destroy his NBA relationship or his NBA legacy, whatever it is, bro. Because one thing you keep talking about players, you talk about coach, whatever, but you talking about everybody. Now, he did give some praise to guys like James Harden. Said James Harden, he understood him even though he's a little delusional. Spoke well on Kyrie. Said Ben Simmons was the only player who would pass the ball, but damn, son, KD, bro, you bugging out, my boy. KD, you bugging the F out. But I did want to say one thing, and this is what I've been saying, or at least the spirit of what I've been saying, I think is coming true. Thank you, Anthony Edwards and KD, for pointing out the fact that they love to put the blame on the so-called OGs. Anything that's bad at the NBA, it's the American players. It's the American AAU system, which I don't disagree with necessarily. It's the AAU the American players who they're fundamentally flawed and whatnot. Cool. But then when it comes to the face of the league, the Euros are taking over. The last 5 MVPs have been European or not American. Blase, blase, blase. So in the same breath, thank you, KD, for pointing this out. One of the more poignant things he said, if that's the case, then why is it that no one puts blame on the so-called these great European players for not taking the All-Star game seriously? He said, man, you watch Jokic, you watch Luka. These guys are laying on the floor shooting shots. These guys are doing do-si-do passes. And he's 100% correct. If you want to give the face of the league to these guys from outside the country, then give them the blame as well too. So I love that. And everybody shut up because we all know what the implications are. And we all know where they come from. But everybody, no one should be accused of that R word. So let's clean it up. Let's clean it up because we know where some of these so-called fake-ass frustrations are coming from. When you got guys like Jokic, as good of a player as he is, he don't want anything to do with the NBA's greatness. And it's almost coming to the point where he's doing it to insult the league. Let's just be honest. I want to go be my horses. Go be with your retire. Retire. Guys, come over to a sport that has literally opened its freaking doors to the European players in terms of being soft, playing a softer game of NBA. You can't have enforcers anymore. You can't have handshake, can't have defense. All to open up for you guys to come over and say it's soft this week. So go and retire. Go to your beautiful countries. Go to these places where it's Real Madrid versus Barcelona. I'm talking about in basketball. When y'all go to all these places in Eastern Europe with the flares and the fires and the spirit is good. And go over there and play and build up the leagues. You know why you don't do it? Because of the money. Because of the money. When Jokic, they tell that story about Jokic. Oh, Jokic was gonna not take the max. He's lying. He's lying. Oh, he was so close. No, he wasn't. He was not going to retire for nothing. He's going to take the money. He's going to play. He plays well. I've never issued on Jokic say he's not a great player. He's a great player. But all this talk about just like y'all got on the American players, when they say certain things, get on these European players for sitting up there and belittling the product that you guys are literally open up for these guys to sell them. It gets a little tiring at this point, bro. In the All-Star game, bro, I want to see these guys, all these players. My bad, I need to wipe my glasses. I want to see all these NBA players all these European players take it seriously. When Bayama did, I give him that. I want to see Jokic. I want to see Luka. When they get into the All-Star game, I want to see them take it seriously. Bark on them like you bark on American guys. Shame them like you would shame American guys. Tired of this crap, bro. Every time thank you, KD. Thank you, Anthony Edwards, for pointing out, bro. These guys ain't taking it seriously, man. Sit up here. We know what y'all mean by the American players, bro. Meanwhile, I gotta hear players talk about how much they belittle the game, how the NBA game is soft. That's Luka. Even Wembayama, we tell him I don't have to get bigger because it's not that difficult. Blah blah blah. I'm paraphrasing. Then what happened the second year? He gained weight, right? Gained muscle, right? Man, F all that, man. But let's get to this, man. The New York Knicks. We got a whole second half, or whatever you want to call it, second half. Sister Bricks Nation in the building. Ernesto, Texto, Jermaine Royce, Sherman, salute. Ronald Duffy, salute. Danbury Sports, salute. Rib, BYM, salute. My brother, salute. We here, man. Like I said, I gotta have more and more weeklies as I'm watching Duke decimate Syracuse. Golly. These dudes are up by 36 points. Excuse me. This is brutal. Syracuse not ready. Let me salute Daniel Landis. Salute my bro. Oh, Danny Landis in the back. I haven't seen Danny Landis in a while, man. Salute my guy. Salute. Happy Monday, bro. What do you thoughts on Jeremy Sochan? We'll get to that, man. Like I said, bro, please go check out the video I did. And I apologize. I was going to do a video, but I already did when I came back home late. And I probably could have done one on Friday, but I already did a video on Jeremy Sochan, but I could have done another one and say, hey, we acquired him. I just put a post on the what's the name? On the community board. But I am a fan of Jeremy Sochan. I talk about his time and time again. I like what he did defensively, especially in 2024-25. Now, if you look at his numbers, 25-26, it's not great. His minutes were cut basically almost altogether. This prior season, I don't think defensively wasn't nowhere near as good. But if you go back the year before that, some of the defensive numbers he had against some of the league's elite, and that includes Brunson, SGA. I mean, he was putting up some great defensive numbers. I love what he can offer as a point of attack defender laterally. He could also close up the clock and clog up the passing lanes. I think that one thing that got him was just the change in the focal point of the team, which it changed to Wembayama once he was drafted. I think that he, amongst other players on the Spurs, not just him, guys like Blake Wesley, there were a bunch of players who just could not buy into it being a Wembayama team. That's why if you look at Wembayama's first year in the league, many times he wasn't getting the ball. Many times he would be in a post. He wasn't getting passes from players, and that's why they try to bring on guys like Chris Paul. You know what I'm saying? So, now they've been able to kind of basically fully transition to a Wembayama team, and I think Sochan was somewhat of a casualty now. Sochan does definitely have some things to work on offensively. His shooting form is, it's somewhat atrocious, but it's not unfixable, right? And I think that Peter Patton being with the Knicks, I think is a major get, is a big major get, big major plus for the Knicks. So I love the fact that we have a developmental guy. Back in the day, I used to talk with Nick G. I used to talk with Nick G about having guys like Fred Vincent, or what was the guy, Schwendagel, the shooting coach for the Spurs. I can't pronounce his name. I apologize, but it's good to have those type of developmental guys here with the Knicks. So you get a guy like a Jeremy Sochan, where the Knicks have had their eyes on for, it seems, some time or for a little bit. You get those guys in, and you're able to develop guys on a cheap. Now, granted, he has one more year, I think, right? But he's going to be very cheap unless he puts up some ridiculous numbers, and I don't think he's going to have the amount of minutes. I don't think he's going to have the amount of touches per se to truly get that change. But if he could project to again fix that jumper, be a connective big on his team, play point of attack defensively. Well, of course, play point of attack defensively, it's the same thing. Anyway, play point of attack effectively. Excuse me, especially against some players on the Eastern Conference, you know what I'm saying? Guys like a Pascal Siakam, who the Knicks were throwing out Josh Hart. Let's be honest, for the past 2 seasons, Pascal's been torching Josh Hart in the playoffs and the regular season this year. So it's just not gonna work. Josh Hart, gives good effort, but it's not enough. You need somebody with some size, pause. And one player that we have that has worked well against Pascal's OG, but OG got hurt. OG gets hurt, so you don't really know what you have with him. So it'd be good to have some depth behind that. Now again, working. Hopefully, he can work with Peter Patton, who I've mentioned, working with guys like Josh Giddey. He's worked with Ayo Dosunmu on their jump shots. And the good thing about him is that he didn't change a whole lot. If you look at Giddey's jump shot, it's just a lot more fluid and quicker. But it's honestly really a lot of it the same style, and a lot of the same mechanics from when he first got into the league with OKC. So hopefully it's the same thing with Josh Giddey. Now, Josh Giddey at times has had some weird, like he'll hold it here, But at times it looks fluid, but he shoots it like right here. So again, it's all about confidence. I think with Peter Pan in terms of what he does to try to help your form. So let's see what he does. But I like the pickup. And again, it's not for them to cut him. And we sign him to a minimum versus we trade for a $7 million contract. Even though I was looking for scenarios we could trade Yabusele and Pacome, but we traded Yabusele for Alvarado, which is great value, or essentially trade for Alvarado. But it was able to save $1.1 million in cap space by doing so. So I think Jeremy Sochan is a good get. But yeah, that's a great question, bro. Let me get to Allen Houston has that. Yo, bro, Allen Houston was my favorite player growing up, man. That was my favorite player growing up because I wasn't the quickest or fastest. Now, my first favorite Knick that I liked watching was Anthony Mason because he had the part in his hair. My first favorite player I used to I try to model my game after was Allen Houston. So all right, got you. I got you, Darcy. But yeah, that's my guys, man. But yeah, let me get to Darcy, man. Darcy's in the StreamYard, man. We about to go through these questions together. And I apologize, Darcy. Darcy didn't kill me for this. I didn't send him the questions. Should have sent them earlier. Yo, salute to my brother Darcy, man, in the building. Salute.
Yo.
How you doing, bro? Is he frozen? Hello?
Yo.
Oh,
You
crap.
good?
Yeah, can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, what's up, man? How you doing, man? How'd you like the All-Star game, bro?
Hey, bro, I really enjoyed it. I think they need to make some tweaks there because I thought it was a little unfair to the Stripes that they had to play so many games back to back.
Yeah.
You saw Kawhi; he was super fatigued after having those, really good performances. So I would say that's the only tweak there. Maybe some kind of intermission, or really just making that the final round. If you lose, you're done. You don't get a chance. You don't get a second shot because it really benefited the young guys because, they had a whole game to sit out and relax and get their breath while the team that's actually winning has to now play back to back to back. So, yeah.
I agree with you. And I think, oddly enough, I've talked about him enough in terms of, whether he's going to become a superstar or not, and I like his talent, but I think I actually think Wembayama in some ways kind of saved the integrity of the game. He played hard, and, him getting mad at the end on that defensive play, even though Cat was involved, it's not Cat's fault, but that last play getting pissed because man hits the three from the wing. But Wembayama played hard, or relatively hard. He got a few good defensive plays, hit a few threes. I think there's some hope, but it's your All-Star game. The dunk contest sucked, but hopefully they bring the 1v1s next year as it might, as some people are speculating. But we'll see. But gotta talk about the second half, my guy. I know it's not a true second half. We have 27 games left, but we got to talk about what's in store for the rest of the year. Bringing in Jeremy Sochan, having Alvarado, Miles McBride still gonna be out. But I have some questions I wanted to ask, man, and I want to get to this real quick. So I'm gonna pull this up, and I apologize. I wish I sent you the questions earlier, but
all good, bro.
I think you're typically really good off the cuff anyway. So let me just ask a few of these. Now we got a few things we got to talk about, man. The rest of the Eastern Conference, bro. Obviously, right now I think the Knicks are in third, behind Detroit and the Celtics, man. But Detroit Pistons, who right now runs the East, we got to talk about is Cat Reliable, who's the number 2 for this offense. Are there any other levels to the offense? Have the elite figured out Jalen Brunson? We saw last year with what happened with the Pacers and how much the Pacers were able to frustrate Jalen Brunson. And that probably connects back to the number 2, who's our number 2 right now. But we got to talk about has the rest of the league, or at least the Eastern Conference, figured out Jalen Brunson, despite the numbers he's put up, the best rotations, especially to close out games. You have to start thinking about that. Do we need point of attack defenders? Do we need connectors? We've seen several lineups where Mike Brown has gone small effectively, or he's gone away from having Cat as a traditional big, having Mitch in there play some heavy minutes in the fourth, and then we've pulled out games where we didn't have Cat or Mitch close out games, and we've won. Do the Knicks have enough toughness? Obviously, having Alvarado and Sochan definitely helps out. You saw Alvarado bark on Trenton Watford the other day against the 76ers. But does that help change the complex of this team? McBride and OG, are they going to be ready for the playoffs? Obviously, McBride's going to be out for the rest of the regular season. But how do they figure when they come back in? And then obviously Jeremy Sochan, impact and development. But let's start off with the first question, my guy. Detroit Pistons / who runs the Eastern Conference? How do you feel about the rest of the season? Can the Knicks win the Eastern Conference with their new acquisitions? Do you think it's just too far gone? The Pistons have established themselves as this tough team that has a bone out to pick with the Knicks. And then obviously the Celtics, they've acquired Vucevic. I think it personally made them weaker. I know they only 1-1 with Vucevic on the game on the team, with one of the losses coming to the only loss coming against the Knicks. But the Celtics to me just don't scare me as much. Jaylen Brown led offense just doesn't scare me. Two of their prime players or their biggest contributors in Derek White as well as Payton Pritchard, both their efficiencies off. Derek White's probably one of his worst efficiency seasons of the year. But let me ask you, man, how do you feel about this Eastern Conference? You got the Cavaliers as well too, James Harden, and now you have somebody who can take the ball out of Donovan Mitchell's hands to make him a lot more lethal off the ball. How do you feel about the Eastern Conference through the rest of the season, bro?
I think there's a lot that I can touch on with that, but I would just say that I'm not really too concerned about the regular season and where we finish. I think I don't have any motivation for us to secure, that 1 seed, because all that does is give you home court advantage throughout all 3 series. But I will say, I'm not necessarily sure that plays to our benefit. The Knicks, in some instances, tend to not play or be as focused as they should be when they're playing at home. To me, you look at that Detroit series that it went to 6. To me, that series only went to 6 because that game 5, we weren't locked in like how we needed to. Like we were trying to almost humiliate them a little bit, like how we did the Celtics when we sent them home. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like we gave them the juice to come back and force it to game 6. So I just feel like the Knicks, at least historically, have been a better road team in the regular season and playoffs. I can't say that's been the case this year, but I just think at the same time, these guys need to feel immediate pressure. And so I think you want to start a series sometimes on an opposing team's court so that you go in with the ultimate focus and attention to detail, understanding that you're working against the home crowd as well. Mm. So I'm not necessarily too big on the team getting that 1 seed spot. Detroit, I think they're playing with an extra chip on their back, which makes sense. After you get eliminated in the playoffs for the first time, you should come back more motivated, especially against a team that beat you. But I just think personally we have no reason to really be that motivated against Detroit. The regular season is completely different from the playoffs. It's a different level of intensity. They have a lot of young guys on their team who have never sniffed the playoffs, right? You look at Jenkins, he's kind of been a standout guy on their team. To me, that's been a difference maker. But I also question how that guy will perform come playoff time. The Cavs had a similar player last year in Ty Jerome, who, when the playoffs came around, he did not perform compared to his regular season performance. So, Detroit's an inexperienced team. They have not won a playoff series. And there have been plenty of teams who have had great regular seasons because they're just playing with that chip on their shoulder as a young team, but it just doesn't translate and carry over to the playoffs. So that's my expectation for them. Regarding the Cavaliers, James Harden I thought was a decent acquisition for them, but James just to me does not play with that grittiness and toughness. Like for me, if the Cavs had gotten a more gritty type of player on their roster, then I think that would be a difference maker. But they just have a bunch of skilled guys, but no guys with a real will to win. And so to me, same thing. We play Cleveland, Knicks in 5. Same deal as the last time we played them. And that's pretty much all I'll leave there. They got what's his name? Jalen Tyson. I think he definitely stepped up for them this year. Can give you a solid 10 and 4 rebounds, but again, it's just not enough. You lock James Harden up. You use your wings. You can even put Mo on him. Jeremy Sochan as a highlight of him getting the key steal on James Harden. So you got Mike Brown has a lot more tools at his disposal now that he can use to kind of contain some of those dynamic guards. Versus last year, we only really had Mikal and OG filling in those roles, and Deuce, who's undersized at the point of attack. So instead, this year, now you have some more dynamic wings that you can throw in there who have a little bit more size to go up against guys like Cade Cunningham. You have a Sochan you can throw at Cade Cunningham and giving him a different look on the defensive end versus just using OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges, who has a thinner frame. You have your Jeremy Sochan. You have a Jose Alvarado, who's a smaller guard, but that plays to his advantage as well because he just knows how to get up into his defender without getting the foul call so much so as a bigger player would. So I think Mike Brown has a little bit more tools at his disposal that makes me less concerned about these teams come playoff time.
Fair enough. Yeah, and I'll say this, man. Cleveland, they don't scare me until they fix their front court issues. Like, I still, as long as Mitchell Robinson is healthy, and you also have Cat who can score against their front court, I just won't ever be scared of the Cavaliers' front court ever truly hurting the Knicks. Now, James Harden. I think it's more so about making Donovan Mitchell as effective as possible, as much as they can, right? And that's where he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands. He doesn't tire out by the second half or the fourth quarter, where they like to feature Donovan as like a do-it-all type of guard. So I think it's about trying to like make it as take as much of the working load off of Donovan Mitchell, but. To me, man, like, I agree, man. I'm not scared of Cleveland Cavaliers. Even for some of the lower teams, like the Heat. I mean, Norman Powell's obviously, one of my favorite players. Bam Adebayo. But he was struggling a little bit with the back injury. I'm not too scared about them. I don't think they truly have a go-to scorer. I don't think they really have the score that could kill us. I think that we could outplay them. They had some issues too with Khalil Ware, and he's been taken out of the lineup or taking minutes, having minutes taken away from him. So I'm not too scared about the guys underneath. And honestly, tell you the truth, bro, I'm not scared of Pistons. In this league, bro, we could do all this tough, physical stuff. The NBA does not want to see ugly basketball. They don't want to see this slow, grinding, physical, non-scoring basketball. And I think that the league have allowed the Pistons, who, for whatever reason they like, allowed them to get away with a lot of foul calls, a lot of so-called physical play. It was really just a lot of fouls. And I think they're going to clean up some of that by the playoffs. Now, do the Pistons scare me? Otherwise, look, they're a good defensive team. They've held us to some of our worst shooting numbers of the season. Obviously, we lost them twice by 30 points. One, we didn't have players. We, missing certain players. OG, I think Cat was missing that game too, if I remember. But the Pistons to me don't scare. They don't have the shooting really to hurt us. I think it's very wishy-washy. Now, obviously, they brought in Duncan Robinson and Kevin Huerter. Even then, I still don't think that's enough. Duncan they just don't compare to what they had last year. I think like guys like Beasley, who didn't even shoot great numbers, just that he could get white hot. I think Duncan Robinson's a little bit less athletic. You stay in front of Duncan Robinson a little bit better than you can versus Beasley. And Kevin Huerter's solid, but he's another player. If he's on the court, he's a defensive liability. So I just think the Knicks have, when we're fully healthy, and I can't wait till February 19th, we got to see Paul Reed's bum ass, and he's not going to have the protection of Jalen Durant. He's not going to have the protection of Isaiah Stewart. I want to see all that rah-rah, all that energy. And I think that's a game that the Knicks should be able to dominate and honestly really show them a precursor. I know that they're missing Jalen Durant and Isaiah Stewart, but those two to me don't even... Jalen Durant, I mean, he was hurt the last few games against, but I'm not even scared about Jalen Durant. I don't care what the numbers say. I've watched Jalen Durant enough. He's cool, but he's not somebody that I fear. I don't think the Knicks could stop. So, honestly, I'll say this. Look, we struggle on the road this season. It's obvious our record is worse on the road this season than it is at home. We're 21-7 at home versus 14 and 13 away. I think that does speak to some of the lack of toughness, especially mentally, by this team. I would say I'd rather have home court advantage now until we prove that we can go out there and be road warriors like we were a few years under Tibbs, where we had a better road record in some years, or at least percentage-wise, than we did at home. So I would have to say that I'd rather us be at home. We gather our bearings get confidence that way. Because honestly, the only player I really trust is Brunson. In some of these big moments, Cat I still don't trust, and I still think there's some ways away until we get, better chemistry. As sickening as it sounds, better chemistry in the offense as well as the defense. And I think that as many advantages we could get in the playoffs, I'd rather just us be at home versus be away. But go. You want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about this Detroit matchup on Thursday. For me, it's all about strategy. I look at last year, the Knicks went 0-10 against the top teams. And when you look at our performance against Detroit last year, Detroit won the season series against us in the regular season. They beat us 3-1, right? Now, casuals would look at that and think that means that translates to the playoffs, and clearly that's not the case. So to me, regardless of how the Knicks perform against the Pistons in a regular season, I will not lose any confidence that we would win a series against them. The playoffs come with a different pressure. This team has been battle tested. These guys understand what the expectation is come playoff time, and I also expect that all these guys will raise their games. Sparingly have we seen all the Knicks on this team play at their highest level. Usually it's one or two guys playing at a high level. It's either OG or JB or it's Cat and Mikal, but it's really all five of these guys clicking on all cylinders. And once we find a way to unlock that formula, which I think it will happen this season, especially come playoff time, I think this team understands we have the maximum amount of depth that we could have right? And then the thing about it, we had championship expectations coming into the season, right, with the roster as constructed with Yabusele and JC. And now you look, and Leon has done a fantastic job in being able to turn it around and actually get us more assets that gives Mike Brown more versatility to help us go deep into the playoffs. I mean, getting this Sochan acquisition and then Jose Alvarado, my biggest thing that I've noticed with Alvarado in the limited sample size is his ability to really play into what Mike Brown wants from this team, and thus far has not gotten. And that one thing that stood out to me is his ability to get into the teeth of the defense and spray the ball. You see how Jose Alvarado quickly, as soon as he gets the ball at the top of the key, he's instantly dashing his way full speed into the paint. You saw him make the entire Celtics defense collapse in the paint, thinking that he was looking to score because of the pace he was attacking the paint with. And doing that instantly led to a spray three, a corner three, right? Which the Knicks are arguably the best team in the league right now is shooting corner threes. So once Jose Alvarado, just being himself, continues to unlock that and generate those kind of shots for this team, the Knicks had a team high 41 assists in that game versus the Sixers, right? So the fact that this team is showing progression and we don't even have all the pieces together, we're still missing OG, who was shooting the ball really well prior to his injury, right? You're still missing Deuce, who's shooting 44 to 46% from three this year, right? So when you put these pieces together and you get a dynamic guard who can not only score the ball, right, tying his career high for threes, but also can do what Mike Brown wants us to do, which is pace and spray. Get into the paint, spray the ball, right? Don't give the defense a chance to get set. Make the defense collapse, spray the ball, generate the best looks. And this is what Jose is doing. Right, so we didn't have that before. We really didn't have that dynamic guard that could play with that speed to do that. And Jose fills in that gap. And now you got a bigger wing on the defensive side of the ball that you can supplement for OG, right? Guys may get tired during the playoffs, or injuries, God forbid, can happen. So to know you have these extra pieces that still gives you a chance to win, it's huge.
And it's a if you saw that game against the 76ers, one thing I love was when they try to hunt Brunson on offense or defending.
Jose was like, no.
Jose was able to switch. And to the Knicks' credit, the other Knicks players have done that this season as well too, where I forget, it wasn't the Pacers game. or maybe in the Pacers game. I'm forgetting which game it was, but they've done the same thing. But it was beautiful to see Jose do that as well too. Now I'm interested to see the lineups because now take the Pacers game out. That was just, I think that was more so anomaly for Alvarado because he got into foul trouble and he just was not effective. They just kept screening him off, which is one way to effectively try to get him out of a play or get him away as a point of attack defender. But I'm interested to see what fourth quarter lineups they use with Alvarado because I do think he works well with Brunson. Like you said, that dribble drive penetration when he was there was a pass that I think it was Brunson made from the opposite wing or above the opposite wing, and Jose Alvarado just caught it quick, and then he just threw the ball ahead to like act as if he was driving to the basket. That forced the tag defense to collapse into the paint, and he kicked it out to somebody for the corner three.
Might have been JC, I think.
Is it JC? Yeah, it may have been.
Yeah, I think Clarkson took a corner three.
Yeah. I think it may have been Clarkson. It may have been Clarkson. And that's the type of thing because when you look at this lineup, bro, we don't have any true dribble drive penetrators outside of Brunson. So when we play a Pistons team, we play some of these teams, they could just hone in on Brunson. They could have their best point of attack defenders literally just bother Brunson before he gets over the half, or right after he gets over the half court line. Now you got Brunson sitting up there dribbling for 6, 7, 8 seconds. You look up and we initiate action in terms of scoring action with like 4 seconds left on the shot clock. You can't have that in a playoff series where literally every basket counts. Like everything is being magnified because of the situation. So I agree. I just wondering what are the lineups we're gonna have, and that probably leads to my second question. We look at Cat as the number 2 player. Now, Darcy, we've seen it this season where Cat has been taken out in fourth quarters of games that we've won for whatever reason. Obviously, been times where he's gotten into foul trouble, but the Cat offense has been shaky at best. I'm talking about Cat's offense away from Brunson. When Brunson, or just an offense where even with Brunson's on the floor, Cat is the main initiator, is supposed to be the main driver of it, and it fails. Now, obviously, last year against the Pacers, like I've said time and time again, I thought that Cat was somewhat underrated offensively when he was able to get their bigs into foul trouble. Pascal got turned into foul trouble, especially was the game 4 or game 5, whichever game. It was one of the games we lost, game 4 or game 5. But Cat in that third quarter was masterful. Was getting foul draws and ones, attacking the basket. Pacers had no solution for Cat. But we are with a different coach. You obviously heard Cat starting the season talk about his lack of comfort or whatever, or understanding of the offense or where his fit is in the offense. And you've seen the Knicks bring on some of these defensive players now. Now I think they could be a compliment to Cat as well too. Jeremy Sochan definitely. But how do we feel? How confident do we feel about the Cat offense? Many times in the playoffs, even when Cat wasn't here, once we sat JB, Heat series a few years ago, our offense, our whole team struggled. And Cat's the same thing. When Brunson sits, the offense it struggles. Cat gets into foul trouble. Cat does just weird things. He'll have 1 or 2 good shots attacking the basket, and he'll take an ill-advised 3. So I'm not sure, and I'm not sure how many games you need, right? Because I think at this point you're trying to solidify your rotations, right? It's all about memory, kind of like muscle memory, like what works best. You're showing up the lineup as we get into the second half. I'm not sure if there's a whole lot of space to I don't know if it's experimenting, but see exactly what we have in Cat when you're just trying to get some plays and get an offensive identity with what works best. So how do you feel about the Cat being the number 2, or is that still a standing? How does this work? What does the offense outside of JB look like going through the second half of the season and into the playoffs?
Well, here's my thing with Cat. I think Cat organically is going to start to play better now because the trade deadline has passed. I think it was very hard for him to really feel comfortable and buy into the offense, not knowing whether he was even going to be here at the end of the year. You had a lot of trade rumors. It was obvious that the Knicks had been in conversations with Milwaukee to trade Cat. So knowing that he made it past the trade deadline and this is the team that we're going to move forward with, I think it's a breath of fresh air for him. And now he can just focus on playing basketball, which I think in the first half of the year, that was a big challenge for him to do. And understandably so, given the circumstances, given all the rumors circulating, and then also just giving all the massive changes. Sometimes it's just hard to buy in. He's a bit of a prima donna to start, but I think right now he understands that things are coming together, and we went through that little slump and we bounced back from that. Knicks are what 10-10, 10 wins in our last 12 games. So we're trending in the right direction. And so I think with Cat, he's going to get more comfortable. You got Jose that's going to understand him, learn him more, and find him the ball in the right spots, which I think is going to be critical. And I think it's just up to Mike Brown to optimize those lineups and figure out what's the best pieces to put around Cat so that he can solely really focus on, and I won't say solely because he's going to have to play defense regardless, but you want to be able to optimize him on the offensive end while also putting the right defensive pieces around him for him to be successful. And I think a large part of that is going to come from having Jose Alvarado out there and having Josh Hart out there to help create and generate those looks for him, whether it's from three, whether it's from at the top of the key, whether it's some give and go, whatever the case may be, optimizing Cat, getting him in space, right, giving him an opportunity to get a mismatch or to get the team's opposing center on him. So to me, that's going to be the critical things right there is just really Mike Brown figuring out what's the best lineups. In terms of this game against Detroit, I don't even want to see the Knicks go too hard. Yeah, it would be nice to kind of stun those guys a little bit and give them the belt. But, at the end of the day, I don't want Mike Brown to reveal all his tricks. This is chess, not checkers. We need to make sure that Detroit does not have that much film to know what we do well, right? We're going to have plenty of film on them because they've been giving us the belt. So they've been playing at 110%. So going into the playoffs, you will have a lot of if you end up seeing them, you will have a good amount of film to go and look at and see what they did, what their game plan was to try to beat you. So you have a little bit more at your disposal to counter. Versus Detroit, they don't have much film on us because we haven't gone into their arenas and have really played with maximum effort and intensity. And I don't think we will into the playoffs because, quite frankly, we have nothing to prove in the regular season. We don't. The standard for this team is set come playoff time. We're no longer a team with playoff aspirations. We're no longer a team with aspirations to make it out of the second round. We are a team with aspirations to not only make it to the finals, but execute and win a championship, regardless of who the opponent is. Right?
I would feel more comfortable if this was. I'm not saying this to praise Tibbs. I'm just saying if this was Mike Brown's second year, I'd feel more comfortable in terms of we don't have to. We could kind of, play 75-80% into the playoffs. For the rest of the regular season. I don't think we're at that point yet, bro. Like, I feel like there's so many things that they still have to get down packed, bro. We just came out, I would say just, but we went through a nasty 2-11 stretch, which I think exposed some parts of this team where, we were relatively healthy, not all the way healthy during that stretch. And obviously went on a winning streak, played some trash teams, though, for the most part. But I still think that we're not ready yet. I think that the chemistry between JB and Cat, for whatever reason, just looks like it still looks terrible. There's just no reason, and it's inconsistent. It's actually an improvement. It's getting better to the point where now it's inconsistent, right? You see a game where Cat will throw JB 30 billion screens, right? Roll to the basket, and not many times, but sometimes JB doesn't catch him. I think that's on JB to do such a poor job of finding Cat at times. But I think that chemistry needs to build, man. It makes no sense. It's going in reverse because last year it was actually the opposite, where JB and Cat at one point were the league's best two-man tandem in the league in terms of the pick and roll, and then it got worse as the season progressed. This year it's the opposite. So I think that they got to get that down pack. I still think the rotations. To me, I'm sorry. This Pistons game to me it's not like last year where we lost to OKC, Cleveland, and the Celtics. We were 0-1, whatever it was against them, right? But it's still the sense of that we have to mentally get over the hurdle, right? And I think that's important for this team, where you do have some new moving parts. You have a bunch of players who are not dogs. I'm sorry. So you have to somehow get it to where now you change the ideas in the head that, yeah, we can beat the Pistons. Like, what do we do? We beat them last year. Oh, let's remember that. Let's go back to understand that the Pistons were the team that lost to us. That we're the better team. We have the better players. Like, why are we losing by 30, even if one of the games we had, a bunch of guys out. So I do think it's important to still build that culture up. Obviously, get rotations and solidify rotations, or get people who's going to be the first game. We have 2 more games against them, so at least this game on the 19th, get some players some viable minutes. Alvarado, I would love to see Alvarado out there. against Jenkins, Dennis Jenkins, whatever his damn name is. I would love to see Alvarado out there. I want to see it, man. I want to see the toughness build with this team, bro. So I want to see the culture build, and I think that we still need some games for that to happen. It'd be good to go on another streak. Back in the day, Tom Thibodeau, he'll go on his little late season streaks. Did it two seasons ago? I want to say it's 2 seasons ago, and I think he at least did out 2 out of the 4 or 5 years he's been here, where he's going these late season streaks. So I like to see this team build up that confidence by doing so. I like to see the offense away from Jalen Brunson build up. Games where Mikal Bridges is the feature player, is not just the first 3 shots like Mikal had against the Pacers, where he was 3 for 3 against the Pacers in the fourth quarter, and Knicks went away from him. Right? I want to see secondary players get that. And last year, remember, other guys got their bearings under them. OG had some of his... OG last year at the end of the season was doing crossovers. I never seen that in my life, OG doing crossovers to the basket. So we got to see some of these players pick up their offense, get that comfort away from JB. Again, this offense has to look like they can hold it down when JB sits. And I'm seeing that. I see from Cat, OG, Mikal, Josh getting his confidence up. We've seen that come and go as the season's moved on. But lately, Josh had some games like not the 76ers game. What game was it where Josh absolutely... I'm forgetting. It wasn't... Obviously, it wasn't Pacers, but I need to see the rest of his team pick up their offense away from JB. So I do think these games are important. I just don't know who the number 2 is. I guess it'll be by committee, but having defense out there, having complementary defensive players definitely helps, where we could win ugly games. That's another thing I was looking for, right? And so I'm going to ask the question, are there other levels to this offense? You can opine on that, but also to the defense as well too. Now, obviously, having Jeremy Sochan, Alvarado helps out. I think Sochan can also be a connector. It's funny because we said, obviously, the Knicks could always use shooters. We could always use that. But the offense it flows better. I'm sorry. It flows better when you have Josh out there as well too. Where you have somebody to help you get the defensive as well as offensive rebounds, give you the second chance opportunities, move the ball around, attack on closeouts. I just think that, and many times Josh, I guess it works for him, even though it's a diss to him. These players back off of Josh. So a confident Josh, if he shoots the shots, and it was a few games ago, he went like 4 for 6 from outside or 3 for 6, something like that. You have a confident Josh, bro. This offense is just much more effective. Now, Jeremy Sochan, I don't know when Jeremy Sochan is going to be able to fix his jumper. I don't know what's going to happen truly this season. But having Peter Patton there should definitely help out. But having another connect out there, and then he's a guy who can attack on close as well too. He can do the dribble drive kickouts, dribble drive handoffs, play a little bit of where Cat plays at that high pinch area, and play the Toro action, find cutters to the basket. I think that this Knicks offense could have levels. I just don't know how much they'll buy into it or buy into the coaching yet. But Mike Brown, give me your confidence around Mike Brown in terms of having this offense ready by the playoffs. And I'm talking about an offense away from... We know what Jalen Brunson could do. Are you confident that Mike Brown's off-ball philosophies, his idea of moving the ball away from JB, which is not working because JB's usage is going up versus last year. What's your confidence behind Mike Brown bringing out other levels? Because you said that you don't want Mike Brown to overcoach too much, so not to reveal too much. But let's be honest. What's your confidence in terms of his offense? Like, have you seen games where you've seen that? My bad. I'm blabbing.
I got 100% confidence in Mike Brown. I spent a lot of time listening to him in interviews. I try to watch all his interviews to hear how he thinks, hear how he talks, where his mind is going. One of the things that stood out to me that made me really big on his signing was that he talked about even going into the one. He took a different approach from Thibs. He didn't come into his coaching role teaching plays or sets. He taught principles, pace and space, right? Players playing off each other organically, understanding where your spots are, where players are supposed to be, but not running set plays. And he said, hey, we're going to incorporate these things come playoff time. So teams don't know what we're doing, or they don't know or memorize our calls or our plays or our sets or know what we're doing when they match up against us. right? So to me, that's critical. That's how you go deep into the playoffs. It's because you have that added versatility that your players have spent the entire year not running play calls. So when the game slows down and you got to play in a half court or whatever the case may be, your players are playing off of principles, right? So you're not you're not calling the same plays, and you have the ability to then incorporate that towards the playoffs. And your guys are already conditioned to just play organically versus you trying to lead with that, and then your guys don't know how to play freely. Because if you look at a playoff series, you play a team so many times, they're going to start to learn you. They're going to start to understand what you do. But if your team is not based off of set plays and there's some just principles of how you play, which is pace and space, cutting, playing out of the short roll, spraying, getting into the paint, spraying the ball. Mike Brown is a principle type of guy. So to me, we don't know how well of what he's going to add to the offense come playoff time. I'm pretty sure there's going to be things that we haven't seen from this team that they won't do until the playoff time. You look at this team last year, all these guys turned their game up come playoff time. Even JB said there's some things that he works on in the offseason that he doesn't bring out until the playoffs come. And when you look at it, even these most recent games, JB has not been using his handle. JB is either he can get to his spot and he's going up for the shot or for the lane, but he's not really trying to break down the defense using his handle. He's chilling. He's trying to make things as easy as possible, spend less time dribbling and running down time on the shot clock. And that's something that I've noticed a lot from JB. There's been a significant decline in him using his handle. He's playing physical, using his body to get to a spot, and he's going up for the lay-in. But he's not bringing out his full bag, which to me is smart. Get teams less film and an idea of how we're going to play and what we're going to do come playoff time. Make us unpredictable as possible. You have nothing to prove in a regular season. We could win 60 games. If this team underperforms come playoff time, that's what we're judging them on. That's just the reality. So this team could finish the season, God forbid, 4th or 5th seed. It doesn't matter. Lock in that playoff spot and get ready to go to win this championship. So to me, I look at it like this. You look at Cat, you have this Jeremy Sochan acquisition. Jeremy Sochan is somebody who plays good out of the short roll. He can screen and cut to the basket and then spray the ball to the corners. Or this guy's 6'8", 250 pounds. He can go ahead and attack the rim and at least try to go in for a lay or for a floater, or again, just spray the basketball, right? And then he's good playing out of the dunker spot. He's good at cutting to the basket, playing old ball, because this guy's not a shooter, right? But I look back, one of the biggest games that I remember was when we played the Spurs in the Garden. And to me, that whole year, every game that we played the Spurs was lit. I think it was 2024. But he gave us 21 points, 21 to 24 points, and 9 rebounds in that game. To me, he looked like a baby Josh Hart, and I was extremely impressed with his game.
Was that the game he hit like 2-3 threes against us?
Yeah, he hit a couple corner threes against us, and that's why I said, Knicks fans, don't fall into the trap of looking at his shooting numbers. He can shoot the ball. Maybe not great at a great clip, but you have to think about it. When a guy is not shooting the ball well and he knows that that's hurting his ability to stay on the court, you're going to work on that. And he's had plenty of time to work on that because he hasn't really been a core part of the Spurs rotation. So the Spurs didn't give him the opportunity to show the growth and progression in his 3-ball shooting this year, right? You even look at a guy like RJ. RJ was a guy who we said was streaky, was shooting the 3-ball, and there was some progression in his ability to shoot the 3. And these guys are young; you have to give them time to develop a shot. And so, to me, Sochan, I wouldn't be surprised if he came in here and shot the ball way better this year. I expect the Knicks to keep him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in here and he shoots the ball way better. And maybe not to start because he hasn't been playing that much. But once he gets a consistent role on this team, and I know there's a lot of conversation about him potentially taking Mo Diawara's minutes. We can get into that as well. But I think you look at what he's able to do with his ability to cut to the basket, to be able to screen and roll, and use his size. This is going to bring a lot of versatility to our offense because you look at Cat. Cat is making a lot of good passes too. So to me, he's going to be one of those good players that Cat can play with out of the short roll because Cat commands a lot of pressure defensively. So when teams are trying to guard him, you can screen and roll him and Sochan. Let Sochan kick to the corners to a shooter, or go ahead and attack the basket, right? And if you got Josh Hart out there, Josh Hart can cut from the corners and either get a lay-in or kick it out for a spray three. So there's just so much that I feel like this team is going to be able to unlock offensively, especially with different lineups. Because one thing we've seen with Mike Brown, he practices with some lineups and then he waits to deploy them, right? So we don't know what these guys are working on behind the scenes, and we don't know all the things that his coaching staff is already probably preparing to incorporate come playoff time. We know the expectations are the finals, so you don't start preparing for that come playoff time. You prepare for that at the beginning of the season. And Mike Brown has made that clear that he's already come into the coaching job prepared for that. He knows what the expectation is. It's finals, and that's why he wanted this role. And this has been a coach who's coached deep into the playoffs. Say what you want about him. And again, whether he's been the head coach or not, he's had the opportunity to learn from great coaches and what it takes to continuously make those adjustments in playoff series to go the distance. So I have
to see them in the game too, though. Like these adjustments, I don't know, man. You gotta see them in he's done stuff where he switched the zone and. You know what I'm saying? Like I just still haven't seen him enough. And I don't think that, look, man, these guys, there's nothing new under the sun, right? So even if, you run a few adjustments against, say, in your first round, by second, third, these guys, they're going to have counters to your counters to your counters to your counters. So I got to be more convinced that Mike Brown, has these things up his sleeve. I got to start seeing some adjustments. Now, I do think that, he has a few more weapons, Alvarado, and Sochan should definitely help. I think that Sochan is be interesting to see again, like you said, and it's been said time and time, or several times since Sochan got acquired. What does this do for Diawara? But Diawara has been in and out of the doghouse for whatever reason. I don't know, or the minutes doghouse with Mike Brown. Not say that Diawara's not impactful, because I got to give Darcy his credit. I wasn't the biggest believer in Diawara, but Diawara is definitely.
I was waiting to see if anybody remember, because
I gave you credit. I gave you credit.
Because I said Mo. I already called it with Mo.
Yeah, I said the only thing is that he don't play that no damn Pascal. But I said that the kid, he's definitely the 3-point shooter's been a great blessing for the Knicks. Underrated. His little crossover from the right to the left has been underrated. Or has been effective. I've seen it 2 times use effective, but 2 times it worked. And then obviously the defense playing the passing lanes, clogging the passing lanes. Let me say, stopping the driving lanes well too, has been really impactful. From now, he hasn't been used as a point of attack as much as say Jeremy Sochan. So I do think that your man Mike Brown's going to try to find some minutes to possibly make it work for both those guys. I actually think that guys, he might go and try to play big. So that means that guys like Kolek are going to get even less minutes. Not saying he's getting a lot of minutes, but I do think he's going to try to find a way to have, a lineup of just annoying forwards out there to play alongside Cat. Have Diawara at the 2, have Sochan at the 4, even have an OG at the 3, just depending on how minutes shake out and who sits in the first quarter. But I gotta see these adjustments by Mike Brown, man. But I do think that it should be interesting to see how these minutes, how rotations move around, especially the fourth quarter rotations. Let me ask you this. Now, you mentioned about Brunson and you haven't seen the most from Brunson, but and I have to agree with you. When I watch Brunson, the counters, the footwork, it's still good, but it's interesting to see how like Brunson is effective with even less footwork off the dribble in the paint. But let me ask you this.
He doesn't need it, bro. He doesn't need it.
He doesn't need, but let me ask you this. Has the league figured him out? Especially in the Eastern Conference. Okay.
No. You can't tell me you figured somebody out who's averaging 27, 28 points per game. And one thing is, to be honest, JB has toned it down. He really, bro, if JB really wanted to, bro, we've seen JB play at a crazy level. Like, we've seen it, bro. Like, if you think about it, I think at one point when JB was first becoming a Knick, to me, honestly, his first season in my eyes was his best looking. Like, in terms of eye test, was his best looking season. And then maybe it was because it was our first season looking at him. And really, not really, because he played at that level in the playoffs with Dallas, but he took it to another level in the regular season. And, to me, JB is a guy who he's playing at least 2 to 3 levels below what he can play at. You look at what he did last year, JB had one of the most historic playoff performances in NBA history. Multiple 40-point games. And again, this is a guy who, if it's all on the line, if the opportunity to win a championship is all on the line, he is locked in and he is playing at another level. And he just doesn't have any reason to do that in these playoffs. You look at this team, bro. For us we all thought we were going to be Indiana. Like, we were like, oh, snap. We beat Boston. We got to go all the way. We got to at least go to the finals. So for us to have a disappointing season like that, and then just with the wickedness that happened in that entire series, you have to imagine if we still feel some anguish from that, imagine what these guys have to feel knowing that they came so close. They were within 2 games of the NBA Finals. You don't get there and then go hard in the regular season. No, your sights are solely focused on getting back there and then beyond it. Mm-hmm. There's no way you can go back to playing at maximum intensity and maximum effort in the regular season. Your eyes are focused on the playoffs and winning a championship. So to me, I'm not judging these guys on anything they do in the regular season because I honestly don't believe that it's a precursor to what we'll see come playoff time. These guys can turn it on, and they've shown us that last year. We watched this Knicks team go 0-10, getting spanked by the top teams in the East and the West. We watched that. Mm-hmm. So to see them come into the playoffs, first year together, right? That's one thing we have to understand. This team now has continuity on their side. You made it past the trade deadline. You went through your first playoff elimination together, and you guys know what you can do because you made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. You were within 2 games. So to me, this team, come playoff time, bro, we are going to see something from them that we haven't seen before. They're going to unlock another level, and they're going to shock the world and win the NBA championship.
I pray, man. I think that JB, and it's funny, some of the criticism JB gets, bro. I watched SGA last season in the finals, bro, and it was SGA ball, bro. Your man, Chet Holmgren didn't want the ball late. He didn't want the ball like that. Jalen Williams, as good as he didn't want the ball. It was the SGA show versus the Pacers for the most part. So, I just laugh at some of the criticisms, but yeah, JB, bro. Yeah, Ace is wild. I try. He says he's at some he can't join, but I want Ace to join because he wanted to kill you on some points. Even though I'm not saying you're a Cat fan, but he was killing you on the Cat point.
Listen, man.
Oh, go ahead.
We saw Cat in that Detroit series. That game against Detroit.
Yep.
Where it was like a minute left. I think it might have been that game. I don't remember what game. It might have been. I think it was game 3. We were tied with them.
The 3-pointer one. When Cat had the 3-pointer.
Yo, the turnaround fadeaway and then the 3-pointer, bro. That's my favorite game from Cat as a Knick. Mm-hmm. Like, one, the pressure that could have been felt at that. You walking into a loud Detroit arena. This team, one, hasn't made the playoffs in years, and 2, their home fan is itching for a win.
Right.
Cat, Knicks are down. I think it was like 90s. We were down by like something. I don't know. It was a close game though, but we were down. I was feeling the pressure. I'm like, oh, snap. Like, yo, somebody do something. JB, Cat, Macau, oh, somebody come through. Don't let us lose. Because things will get real if we let these dudes get a win on their court. Or put us down in the series. Cat said, no worries, give me the rock. OG got the ball. I'll never forget this. OG got the ball in the corner. JB kicked it to OG. Shoot that. OG said, nah, I ain't feeling it. Drove. Kicked it out. He said, you know what? Cat, you the highest paid player on this team. I'm giving it to you. You do something. I'm giving it to you. I don't want this kind of pressure. I'm the third best player on this team. Cat, you the highest paid player. This is why the team pay you. Mm-hmm. Take that. Cat said, give me that. Give me that. Took Durant. Said, yo, you know what? This is what I work on all offseason. I work for these moments. This is what I work for in this moment. That's what Cat said. My son Cat said, give me that. Everybody clear out. Took Durant. Fade away. Fade away. Turn around, fade away, bro. My son said, on net. On net. On net. Oh, my gosh, bro. That was the sexiest shot I had seen all year. On net. That boy Cat shot that and said, I'm taking this.
Yeah, man.
That was a JB type moment. And then got the ball at the top of the key again. Shot a long three. On net. Stunned him. What's that video clip? They showed the one Detroit fan, the old dude, he probably like in his 50s. He got this salty look on his face. I love that clip. I love that clip. I love it. I love it.
Now,
I love it.
Omar said that Isaiah Stewart didn't play in that series.
Bro, please stop with this Isaiah Stewart talk. Isaiah Stewart is not doing nothing against Cat. Jalen Durant. If Durant wasn't doing nothing against Cat, Isaiah Stewart is not doing nothing against Cat. Y'all gotta stop talking about this clown. Bro was not on nothing. If he really wanted to play, if he really believed they could win, that boy would have got out there and suited up. And in the game that he did play at the Garden, he wasn't on nothing. We gotta stop with this Isaiah Stewart talk. Stop gassing these little boys. Those are our sons. We didn't take them seriously, and that's the only reason that series went to 6. We could have done them off in that game 5 if we would have came in there and said, yo, we ending this. The Knicks had a tendency all last year, and we saw it. We would get too cocky or get too arrogant in our mind, brains deflated because they thinking, oh, well, we know what we could do. We were showing flashes, so they thinking we could just play with certain teams. Yo, last year you made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. You made it past the defending champions, the Boston Celtics. You were going to put them down 3-1, even with Jason Tatum. So you made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. You were 2 games away from the finals. Cat, this is your second. You made it to the Western Conference Finals, then the Eastern Conference Finals. It's nothing more that you should want less right now than the finals. So the way I see it, this is the year we got to put teams away early. No games. No games. Put them away. First round, whoever it is, it need to be over in 5. Second round, whoever it is, max 6. And it really shouldn't even get to that. We on business. We on business. No games this year. Let's get it done.
Okay. Fair enough. Look, I hope that's the case. I'm praying that's the case. I really don't think the East, we don't have a team that matches up, well against us like the Pacers, right? I think that the Pistons are, I don't want to call them a fraud team, but I think we can handle them with a fully healthy squad.
You got a super chat, my brother.
I'm about to say super chat real quick, but they got a whole bunch of holes in there, and I'm not trusting Dennis Jenkins to carry them or to be the number 2 guy or number 3 guy in the playoffs. Tobias Harris is Tobias Harris. We really know what he does, which is being consistent at best. So I'm not too scared about the Pistons come to the playoffs. I just want to see some of these things materialize with some of our key plays before the series starts, so they have that confidence, so they have that comfort away from JB. But thank you for the $10 super chat. I apologize, I can't even see the name. Gail Barry, salute 9260. I appreciate you for the $10 super chat. Says Knicks fan since first 2 championships. Golly, salute to that, man. JB and Hart need to I think he meant to say pass the ball to Cat, more specifically Hart. If not, no chip. Gmo, love your show fears. I appreciate you, Gail Barry, man. I appreciate you, bro. I'll say this to that, man. I agree with you, especially on JB, man. And this is why, look, I get on Cat, I get on Mike Brown, but I get on JB, man. You have to make the 2-man game work. And there have been too many times I've seen it too. Now, like the game where JB had, we was a back-to-back that we won. What was the last back-to-back we just won? Was it the 76ers game where JB was literally just passing? Didn't make his first shot till like deep into the first quarter, and he was just feeding players, right? And I don't want to see the highs and lows like that in terms of JB's facilitating. Are there games where JB facilitates and scores? Yes, but I want to see games where JB and Cat build that 2-man. Cat is a player who JB has to realize this. Look, man, not everybody around is gonna be a dog, but the team needs to be a dog as a collective, and you need to get Cat in a place of comfort. So that means giving him the ball in the pick and rolls, getting him free points, easy points. And there have been times where JB can make that slick pocket pass to a Cat and he doesn't. But I know he can do it. So JB has to make it an issue. They do it every game, bro. Every game that I've seen for the past, say, 2-3 seasons, when a player struggles a game before that, JB and the whole Villanova squad, they do a good job of featuring that player early to get them going. I want to see that with JB and Cat, not just get going in the game early. I want to see that 2-man, because there have been too many teams where they can't guard either one, either Cat or JB. They can guard them at 1v1 more effectively, but once they're in terms of attack, trying to defend closeouts or attack them off a pick and roll, they can't. I need to see us bludgeon teams to death until they adjust and they throw something different at the Knicks. That's what JB has to do. We've seen smarts from JB. JB against the Pacers a few years ago. Not this last year, but last season, but 2 seasons ago, where everybody got hurt in the playoffs. What did JB do after that 76ers series? Once they started to try to double up on JB, what did he do? Draw them out near the half-court line, feed McBride, feed Josh Hart. Then the Pacers had to play the Knicks a little bit more straight up. They couldn't double JB off the top. So JB's smart enough to make adjustments, but I need to see him make this 2-man work with him and Cat. I just need to see Cat's game be elevated before the playoffs to where he has that comfort. Because, yes, he can do that against a Jalen Durant. We've seen Cat make amazing shots. Look, that step back 3 he had to basically ice a game, and that's a big man shot right there, bro. That's not that's a tough one, because look, if he missed it, you would have killed him. Hey, you took a deep 3-foot, but he made the shot. You got to take it. So we know what Cat can do. It's just about the rest of the team have to elevate him, because we know Cat, he can't really self-motivate himself to be that type of player consistently. So I need to see JB do a good job, do the mind reader games. If you got to read some books on, on psychology, sports psychology, do so. Learn from Popovich, learn from Steve Kerr, learn from Mike Brown, who's supposed to be learning from those guys, right, when he's with the Warriors. So I got to see. They said, yo, come on, man, this is Cope with Cat, man. Look, man, I'm not the biggest Cat fan, but he's here. He didn't get traded. So we got to make do with what we have, bro. And Cat cannot be a zero. I can't see games where we cannot have games where Cat's not giving you 20 or he's not giving you 15 and 15 and there's a plus 10 on the floor. We can't have that in the playoffs, bro. We can't have it. JB has to carry this team, but he has to average 40 points a game. We're not going to win that way, bro. Sorry. As much as I don't think... Go ahead.
I beg to differ on that, bro.
That we can win with JB scoring, averaging 40 and Cat being a shell of a player or a shell of a star?
I look at it like this, bro. JB is the head of the snake. The reality is the Knicks only go as far as JB takes us.
Agreed.
And to me, it doesn't even matter how much another player is stepping up. If JB is not on, it's not happening. Like, unless OG and Cat can somehow ascend to a different level that we haven't seen from them, which I'm not saying is not possible. The reality is this team goes as far as JB takes them. This team has the belief because of JB.
I don't disagree, but there's gonna be games where other guys have to fill in the blanks. If you remember 2 seasons ago, 2 playoffs ago, when we played the 76ers, the first 2 games, Jalen Brunson struggled mightily. You know who carried that team? It was Josh Hart. Josh Hart, go back to that playoffs we had against 76ers. The first 2 games, it was Josh Hart who carried the offense.
Because Josh Hart was able to shoot the ball well.
Able to shoot, but JB was struggling. So we need, bro. We're only as, I agree with you. We're only gonna go as far as JB takes us, right? But you need, bro. There's no championship team that doesn't have a viable number 2 option, and then even a number 3 spread out in terms of catching players.
Bro, the tone for Cat to beat it. He's the highest paid player on this team. By that alone, you are the second fiddle.
But I think like that all the time, bro. Go ahead.
But at the same time, I don't want any one of these guys outside of JB to even feel like they have that pressure on them. I think this team, this group has to play with a sense of togetherness and understanding that, hey, you look at a playoff series, bro. A series can go up to 7 games, right? A series can go up to 7 games. Then you're talking about winning the finals. 7, 14, 21, 28. That's a potential 28 games that you can play. So you're going to need so much depth across all your pieces. Jordan Clarkson might be a guy that has to win you a playoff game, right? We saw that with Campaign last year. We saw some guys come in and play critical roles. That's it's going to have to be that this year. That's why when people talk about, who's going to be the playoff rotation, I'm like, y'all have to get out of the Thibs era. Mike Brown is going to utilize these younger guys too, because you're going to.
What's the tip? So the Thibs era, because we want rotations to be kind of set. That's a Thibs era thing.
No, I'm talking about getting used to only 7 to 8 guys playing the entire season.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm like, that's not going to be the case. Mike Brown is going to utilize these guys. Unfortunately, you have fatigue, you have injuries. He's not going to want to play these guys the entire game, especially if you have these young guys and they continue to trend in the right direction and show you that they're reliable, you're going to give them a test in the playoffs. They may not play a lot of minutes, but you're going to put them out there to see what they can give you. And you look at Mo Diawara, you're going to need Mo, right? We don't have the size on this team to even be a team that can be like, we can afford to not play certain guys. No. If you go up against a Cade Cunningham, who's a bigger guard, Deuce McBride, Jose Alvarado are not going to be your core guys. You can give them looks on this player, to give him different looks to try to throw off his game and attack him from different areas. But more often than not, you're going to be riding your OG Anunoby, your Jeremy Sochan, and your Mo Diawara. These are your wings. These are your real wings. Mikal Bridges has a very thin frame. We can see that he struggled to stay in front of bigger guards. And that was a core weakness for us last year. Mikal Bridges was a core reason why this team struggled against the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton had one of the most historic games in playoff history against Mikal Bridges with him being the primary point of attack defender. That was a core weakness, and that was one of the main reasons why I advocated to trade Mikal. But now that you have a bigger wing outside of OG Anunoby, because that was the thing too. OG, if you want him to be good all the way up to the finals, you can't make this guy have to work so hard every series, bro. That's going to be overwhelming. You have to be able to trust your bench, and that's why Tom Thibodeau was not the guy to coach this team to a championship.
Oh my gosh!
And I don't want to get caught up on that.
You ain't through the darts. You ain't through the darts, bro.
Look, I wrap up my thought and just say this: that's 28 games you can end up playing. At worst case scenario, if every series went to 7, that's unlikely. I would hope we wouldn't allow that, but depending on your competition, depending on what's going on, anything is within possibility. So you're going to have to need these guys. You're going to have to rely on them. So OG, my man Sochan, and Mo D, they're going to play some pivotal roles come playoff time. I don't think that Sochan is going to really take minutes from Mo. I think, he will. But the thing is, Mo is 19. That's one. Two, you don't want to boost his value too much, just like we didn't want to do with Deuce. We knew what Deuce was, but we didn't. We threw Deuce out there for a couple minutes, get some minutes. We know you a part of our future, but we gonna wait till we pay you and lock you up on a contract before we start giving you all these minutes. So same thing with Mo. He's 19. He's 19. He's gonna get minutes in the playoffs, but we have to understand the goal is a championship. Jeremy Sochan is not much older, but he has way more experience, and his usage is higher than Mo. So realistically, this is a guy who you actually, in 2024, he ranked in the 98th percentile at perimeter defense. This is a guy you want at your point of attack if Mikal Bridges can't get it done, and if Deuce McBride doesn't have the size, right? And Deuce was our backup to Mikal. Deuce can only do so much. Deuce could not really guard Cade Cunningham. And if you can take Cade Cunningham out the game, you got yourself the series.
Well, funny enough, Cade actually had bad offensive numbers that series, bro. He was actually not the worst, but if you look at his efficiencies, he was bad.
Look at him now.
I know. Even though he's still struggling from the outside, which I think the Knicks we have to play teams a little bit smarter, right? Go under screens. Like, why are we going over screens, right? But I'll say this with Cade. He still has to prove to me that he could execute on a bit. Because we said people kill JB, but JB's been killing the regular season, kills in the playoffs. He still doesn't get respect. Cade struggles in the playoffs. There's every excuse out the wazoo. But if it's a regular season, Cade's up and coming, Cade's this. So Cade still has to prove something to me. And again, that's part of the reason why I'm not so crazy about the Pistons. They're going to kill the Knicks or whatnot. Because I still got to see Cade be able to execute in big moments. If it wasn't for Schroeder and Beasley hitting some big shots in that Pistons series would have been over in 4. It would have been done. Finito. Let's be honest. Schroeder was playing out of his mind. Look what Schroeder's doing now. Beasley's playing out of his mind. He's in freaking Puerto Rico now. Right? So they got a lot of flash offensive superlative performances. And they do have defenders. Obviously, Orsay Thompson is gonna be pushed on Brunson again. But I just the Pistons got to prove something to me. So I'm not too scared about the Pistons, even in the playoffs, as long as we're healthy enough. But I just want to poo-poo on Cade. And Cade is my son. I know I like them since the draft, so it's not me trying to hate on Cade. It's just Cade got to prove to me. If JB got to prove to people, and JB still got to prove to people, despite all he's done, he still has to prove more and more to people. Cade has to do the same thing. So Cade we good. I want to see Sochan on a Cade. I want to see, and that's what I want to see Mike Brown do, because every team we've had, going back to the Hawks when they were putting Solomon Hill out there to trip people and injure people. And I say I want that to be Sochan. They've had guys out there that have been able to frustrate our best players, right? Guys who we know they ain't no major rotational piece or a player like that. They're not one of the main players. They're not, say, a Jalen Johnson type. I'm just making this up. But they had somebody to go out there and frustrate. Even Orsay Thompson, he's not an offensive weapon at all. But they had him out there to sit up there and frustrate. So I will love to see Jeremy Sochan, especially in this upcoming game, be used on Cade and just harass Cade, frustrate Cade. Just throw him off his square, be annoying, moving with him laterally. Something the Knicks have struggled with. When Cade catches the ball in the closeouts, the Knicks have done a terrible job of guarding against Cade. When Cade attacks on the missteps, the Knicks have done a terrible job. So I want to see us, especially what rotation is going to work. And again, we don't have a crystal ball. We already talked about it enough here. But rotations, to me, I know it's not Tibbs where it's 7, 6 guys. Even though when Tibbs was using some of these rotations, I'm sorry, what we had on the bench, the options weren't that great. I don't care. I know people say Shamit. Shamit, if y'all look what he did last year, mind you, he had the shoulder injury. His minutes were increasing every month, minutes per game. We were increasing every month. Shamit in big games would miss shots in the regular season until near the end of the season and until the playoffs. So if people want to kill Tibbs, yes, I'm going to go with the rotations that I've been using for most of the season that have worked. I'm not going to necessarily be convinced unless everybody's hurt to now go with the rotation where this guy's just come out of nowhere, but we know what his body of work is typically, and it's not that. So I don't know if people want to kill Tibbs for that. I understand he wants to use the young players, but this rotation is going to have to be cleaned up. A lot of these players are not going to get major minutes in the playoffs. It's just is what it is. Lineups tighten up as you get into the playoffs. In the playoffs, they tighten up. 8-man rotations, maybe 9-man rotations. Very few teams go out there and give you a 10-man rotation in the playoffs. Maybe OKC, maybe against the Pacers. OKC were running all these young players out there and giving them major minutes.
Nah, they were.
Major minutes. We check right now.
The Pacers and OKC, if you look at it, they're the only team that goes that deep in their benches, and they were the only team that made the finals.
Thunder, Pacers. I'm talking about in the finals, not the lead up to the finals. I'm talking about the finals.
They went to 7. They were playing their bench. The coach is not scared to use his players, bro.
But here's another.
If you play them throughout the entire year and you give them the opportunity and you test them, right? You battle test them, then you're gonna have a lot more faith in the playoffs.
My guy, I'm sorry. AJ Mitchell. We do not have an AJ Mitchell on the squad. We do not have a no. I know that. I've seen these play. We do not have. I watch AJ Mitchell and I bet on him almost every other night. We do not have a freaking AJ Mitchell in the squad. I don't care what no one says. We do not have a freaking Isaiah Joe in the squad. We don't have a freaking Aaron Wiggins on the squad. I'm naming some stars to be. We don't have him in the squad. Not when Isaiah Joe once the 76ers let him go. I've been with Isaiah Joe. We don't have no damn Isaiah Joe in the squad, bro. They got a bunch of. We don't have a Cason Wallace on the squad, bro. We don't. And here's some of the.
Listen, bro. Our players don't have to be that. Our players don't have to be that. We don't gotta.
So the guys who got major minutes, like I said, the guys who got major minutes for. This is what game 1 in the finals. Like I told, game 7. Let me say sorry. Game 7, the minutes. Jalen Williams 38 minutes. Chet 31. Isaiah Hartenstein 18. Lou Dortz 35. Shea 40 obviously. Caruso 32. Cason Wallace 26. The rest of their bench much or nothing. 4.5 for Kenrick Williams. Aaron Wiggins, who I just mentioned, who we don't have, 12 minutes. Dylan Jones, who's now a Knick, 32 seconds. AJ Mitchell last year, obviously, 32 seconds. Ousmane Dieng, 32 seconds. I'm telling you, once they got into the finals, bro, it wasn't like everybody was getting 20 minutes on average. When we talk about the bench, there are guys getting spot minutes here and there, but not really. Lineups tighten once you get into the weed of things. Now, leading up to it, I agree. Yes, leading up to it, they're using plays, but OKC Thunder have been stashing first round picks for how long, bro? Cason Wallace probably, I don't know if he starts, but he's probably getting major minutes. And he got major minutes in the finals here, but he's probably getting featured as your number 2 guard. Maybe he's probably starting on some teams. He's not starting, obviously. SGA cuts into that, but even he doesn't play alongside SGA because Lou Dortz plays as the off guard next to Shea. So I'm just telling you, bro, we do not have the benches like that, bro. We've seen this team, bro, when they put in, and I like some of these players. I like KMJ. Obviously, I like Kolek. But these guys are not. We do not. I
gotta stop betting on college ball, bro. Like, what the?
We do not have those guys, man. But let me see some of y'all comments before we head out of here, man. East Blue Drew says, Sochan, get me 6 fouls. They got a first round next year. I don't. Darcy and his. Right? Am I gonna read that? What the hell?
Bro, I don't use no spray. I'm
yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to read that. I just clicked there. So let me see. So all our OKC bench players are better than theirs. I don't believe. Yeah, we don't, man. Yo, Jabroni, we do not have OKC's bench, bro. We do not.
I agree with what he said. I don't feel like OKC. They're not even a good shooting team,
bro. Their bench. If we talking about, first of all, Jalen Williams. But Isaiah Joe didn't even get playing time in Game 7 last year. We're talking about a dead-eye sniper sharpshooter. He didn't even get playing time in that Game 7 last year. AJ Mitchell's probably better than any guard coming off our bench in terms of running an offense offensively. Aaron Wiggins.
Your man AJ Mitchell was just getting locked up without Shea out there.
Who? And Kolek wouldn't? Kolek without Brunson is doing what? And I like Kolek.
No. Exactly.
Kolek ain't doing nothing if Brunson ain't out there against the league's elite.
AJ Mitchell to Kolek. You got to say Deuce. Deuce would be the...
Now I can't compare a ball handler I'm comparing the styles, right? AJ Mitchell can run an offense. He can facilitate. He can shoot. He can attack the basket. So I was comparing him more so to like Kolik's type because McBride's more of like a 3-and-D type player, right? But Case and Wallace, who would you rather have, Case and Wallace or Deuce?
Deuce.
I'd take Deuce. Deuce is my son right now, but Case and Wallace, I know he's struggling a little bit from outside this season, but yeah, I can't go. But yo, let's wrap this up, man. Give me your final thoughts, man, with the Pistons coming up on Thursday. How do you feel about that game, bro? How do you feel about? I know you say you don't want to show them all our secrets, all our tricks up the sleeve, but how do you feel about that game, especially with all our guys allegedly outside of McBride should be healthy? They're gonna be without Jalen Durant and Stewart for that game because of suspensions.
I mean, one, there's some potential for us to come back with some rust, right? Just having a week off, not playing ball, so that's a factor. But all in all, I think we should. One, I want to know what's going on with OG, whether OG is going to play.
Yeah.
So that's a big what if, and if not, then I think an opportunity to look at Sochan. But honestly, I kind of wouldn't even put Sochan on Cade. I just match him up with the bench, so that way, they don't have a way to game plan of how you would use Sochan if you did see him in the playoffs. Now, realistically, the only way we would see Detroit out, I mean, if we finish third seed and they finish first, we would play them in the second round. Mm-hmm. If we finish second seed, we wouldn't see them until the Eastern Conference Finals if they made it there.
Right.
So, realistically, Detroit has to win a series of their own, which let's take a look at now. Obviously, it's still early, but what's the Eastern Conference standings? Who is at the bottom of the East that, okay, now this is interesting, right? Because Detroit will be facing a real test as a number one seed, playing potentially either the Orlando Magic, the Miami Heat, the Charlotte Hornets, who have been surging.
Yeah.
The Hornets could beat Detroit in the series.
Bro, I watched obviously the one where Diabate got in a fight, and then I watched I don't know if it was a back-to-back that Charlotte played Pistons before that, and I'm like, why is it that they able to beat the Pistons? Like,
bro, Charlotte, bro, they've been giving a couple teams up, bro. They got like one of the best offenses right now.
Bro, that Con-Nupo, whatever his name is, bro.
Con-Nupo, yeah, bro.
So I don't know what it is. Like, he'll attack the basket right for closeout. And it's like,
he aggressive,
I was about to get blocked. And it's like, how the hell you just make that shot? Like, it be the most
I don't
know how to explain this. It's like the most wow attacking I've been seeing from this dude. Then he makes a shot from the outside. Remember, they had a few games they started LaMelo off the bench. And that was working. Melo, I think one game did he have 30 points off the bench one game? They won it in that 9-game run they had. So yeah, hold on. Let me see.
I mean, but let's talk about it, bro. I mean, you think about it. Even the Bucks right now, they got Uzman Dieng. That dude been hooping for them.
Hey, everybody knows Uzman is my son, bro. I wanted Uzman on the Knicks, bro, but yeah, and the Hornets are 9th right now, bro.
And that's what I'm saying. So if you think about it, it's a play-in works. How the play-in works for those unfamiliar is 7th and 8th seed face off, and 9th and 10th face off. Mm-hmm.